If you ask most people what a Tasmanian devil looks like, chances are they'll picture a spinning cartoon blur from Looney Tunes, a shrieking, chaotic creature tearing through everything in its path like a living tornado. And while that image is obviously exaggerated, it turns out that Warner Bros. Accidentally got one detail surprisingly right: the noise. Tasmanian devils are loud. In fact, they are among the loudest mammals relative to their size on Earth. What cartoons didn't show, however, is that behind all that screaming is one of the most mechanically powerful predators alive today. Pound for pound, the Tasmanian devil has the strongest bite force of any living mammal. This isn't about absolute strength. A hippo would obviously win that contest, but relative power compared to body size. Scientists measure this using something called the bite force quotient, or BFQ, and this is where things get absurd. Lions score around 112. Spotted hyenas, famous for crushing bone, reach about 124. The Tasmanian devil, a staggering 181, and this is coming from a stocky marsupial roughly the size of a chunky terrier, weighing just around 8 kilograms. Despite its small stature, its measured bite force exceeds 550 newtons, strong enough to shatter bone and even damage metal. That power comes from a head that looks almost comically oversized for its body. The skull is massive, the neck is thick, and the jaw muscles are densely packed, giving it an advantage that few mammals can match. Its teeth resemble those of hyenas through convergent evolution, built not just to tear flesh but to crush skulls, ribs, and vertebrae. Unlike most mammals, the devil's teeth also continue growing throughout its life, compensating for extreme wear caused by chewing through bone, hide, and occasionally wire fencing when escaping traps. To make matters even more intimidating, its jaws can open to nearly 80 degrees, far wider than most mammalian predators. But the Tasmanian devil isn't just a mouth with legs. Its tail plays a surprisingly important role as well. Rather than being used for balance or gripping, the tail functions as a fat storage organ, swelling when food is abundant and shrinking during lean periods. In other words, you can tell how well a devil is doing just by looking at the thickness of its tail. That said, getting close enough to check isn't recommended, even if their aggressive reputation is often more bark than bite. Despite the screaming, snarling, and dramatic displays, Tasmanian devils are not especially violent animals. Their infamous vocalizations are actually a way to avoid physical conflict. When two devils meet, especially around food, they put on an intimidating performance. Mouths wide open, teeth exposed, hissing, coughing, growling, and screaming at full volume. These displays usually settle disputes without serious injury. Actual fights are relatively rare and typically brief because neither animal wants to risk a shattered skull from a bite that powerful. By day, Tasmanian devils rest in dense vegetation, caves, or abandoned wombat burrows, emerging at dusk to begin their nightly patrols. They are nocturnal and crepuscular, traveling impressive distances, often 8 kilometers per night, using their excellent sense of smell and hearing to locate food. While they can sprint at speeds exceeding 25 kilometers per hour, most of their movement is a steady trot as they search for carrion, and carrion is where they truly shine. Tasmanian devils are opportunistic scavengers that eat virtually anything organic: roadkill, livestock carcasses, small mammals, birds, insects, fruit. Nothing is off the menu. When they find food, they waste nothing, consuming flesh, organs, fur, and bone. They can eat up to 40% of their body weight in a single feeding, sometimes crawling inside carcasses and feeding from within. This behavior, unpleasant as it may sound, plays a vital ecological role. Tasmania lacks large vultures, and without devils, carcasses would accumulate, spreading disease. Despite being solitary most of the time, devils often gather at large food sources. These communal feeding events are loud, chaotic, and unfortunately deadly in an unexpected way. Because Tasmanian devils frequently bite one another during feeding and mating, they unknowingly created the perfect transmission route for one of the most disturbing diseases known to science. In the mid 1990s, researchers began noticing devils with grotesque facial tumors. These were not caused by a virus or bacteria, but by living cancer cells spreading directly from animal to animal through bites. Devil facial tumor disease is a transmissible cancer, something so rare that only a handful of examples exist in nature. Even worse, Tasmanian devils are dealing with not one but two separate transmissible cancers, both nearly 100% fatal. These tumors grow aggressively, destroying tissue, bone, and organs, often killing the animal within months through starvation or infection. The cancer evades the immune system by suppressing molecular markers that would normally identify foreign cells. Genetic studies revealed that the first strain originated from a single female devil decades ago and has since spread clonally across most of Tasmania. Entire populations collapsed, with some regions losing over 95% of their devils, and just when it seemed impossible for things to get worse, a second, genetically distinct cancer strain emerged in 2014. Yet, despite everything, Tasmanian devils are fighting back. Some individuals show partial resistance, others experience spontaneous tumor regression. Conservation programs have established insurance populations, developed experimental vaccines, and even reintroduced devils to mainland Australia for the first time in thousands of years. Early results are promising, with wild-born joeys already appearing. The Tasmanian devil is loud, aggressive-looking, and terrifyingly powerful for its size, but it is also resilient beyond expectation. Against odds that should have wiped it out entirely, it is still here screaming, biting, and surviving, and if history tells us anything, it won't disappear quietly. Thanks for watching, and until next time.